benefiting an individual student, the more I start wondering if it's a gift of public funds and appropriate. And we're going to talk about gift of public funds next, because that's a tough one. Money that we spend from student body cannot be considered a gift of public funds, which is kind of like this wide open term that we hear a lot in education, that we have to spend our money appropriately, it can't benefit individuals, it's a criminal act to spend education money in a way that could be considered gift of public funds. So this is definitely somewhere that you don't want to go. And whenever you're thinking about spending money from ASB, you really want to think about how would the public feel about this? Would they think that this is not appropriate? Would they think that this could be a gift of public funds? So remember, the Constitution is where this provision comes from. And basically what gift of public funds means is the money that we spend from the college or from student body has to be spent for the purpose of why we're here. And we're here to educate students. So any of our expenditures that come from student body or the college have to be about educating students in some way, enhancing the student's educational experience. So that's really important. The more often that we are benefiting certain students or even certain staff, if we're talking about college money, the more likely it could be considered a gift of public funds. So whenever I think of the word "it could," I'd say you need to stay away from it, right? Because if people start wondering, was that appropriate, was it not, was that a gift of public funds, the more likely issues start. And let me just tell you, it's not worth it. When you think about what's in the newspaper, it's not just fraud, it's when we think that money has been spent inappropriately, right? And so gift of public funds definitely is an inappropriate use of that money. Now, sometimes in districts, you're going to see interesting board policies that say flowers are okay, donations to charities are okay, and it's a board policy, or the governing board actually approves those type of expenditures. The reason you're going to see that is that when an entity is challenged on a gift of public funds, they always go to board policy first. That's what the courts look to first, board policy. And if in board policy it says that awards are okay under some circumstances, flowers are okay under some circumstances, donations are okay, that's the law for your college, your entity. The courts will say the governing board of this district has found a link between education and this strange expenditure, flowers, and they think that it's okay, and the board has allowed it. If your governing board authorizes it, it's okay. If your governing board hasn't authorized it, hasn't found the link, and it's considered a gift of public funds, you don't have much of a leg to stand on. So if there are weird things you want to do with your money that seem very strange and benefit individuals rather than groups of students, you really want to make sure that your district, i.e. your board over the college, is okay with it. Because at the end of the day, that's where the courts will defer to. And in years where our funding has all been cut back, people look at how we spend our money more than ever. So it's really worth making sure that you spend money on the right things. There's always enough things to spend money on if you look. So if something's questionable, I would say just don't do it. Okay, so these are examples of allowable expenses. These are all extras, right? Things that the college doesn't have to provide. Extra supplemental stuff, social events, trips. Again, all of this would have to be per board policy, right? Not against board policy, pre-approved. And when the money was raised, it was for these purposes. What you don't want is to raise the money for one thing and then spend it on something else. That's a problem too. So these are all allowable, if it's part of the budget, pre-approved, it was raised for that. All of it's very, very important, but these are types of allowable expenses. And then unallowable is the opposite, right? It wasn't raised for that purpose, not for a group of students, could be considered a gift of public funds, isn't about improving the student's education. All of these are types of things that could be considered unallowable. And I say could be, because if in policy somewhere it says one of these is okay, it could be okay. But rarely do we see these types of things allowed by the college, and these are the types of things that would be unallowable. And I think most of them are common sense, right? Faculty meeting costs, employee clothing, employee appreciation, these are the types of things